Hi there, this is Shrikant Dasari. So in this lesson, we are going to learn about how to define a student class, which is another example for creating classes and objects in C++. So first, let me launch the IDE. So we know that we are using Visual Studio 2013 Express for Windows Desktop. So what I am doing here is I'm creating a new project. Okay. So for our example purpose, so let me name the project as student class. Okay, so whatever you wanted. So what Visual Studio does for us is it creates a project with the name student class and all the directory structure here. So which consists of 4 different files. Okay. So first let me add a new .cpp file in the source files section folder here. So code file and .cpp, and let's say it as student class .cpp. So most relevant names, or else you can select whatever the name you wanted. Okay, so let's go to full screen and do all the basic stuff like header files and so on and so forth. So hash include iostream, and hash include conevo.h. So using namespace std. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is so first let me do some previous configurations here. So since we are using the most advanced IDE in the world, Visual Studio 2013, so this is not built for our purposes. Okay, so this is most advanced IDE, which is a Microsoft implementation of C++, which is also known as Visual C++. They don't say the plain C++ here. Okay, so small properties like so if you go to once again let me do it, project and student class properties, and if you go to C or C++ in configuration properties, and if you go to advanced tab, so here you have a compile as option. So let's make it as C++ code, not as default, and also let's disable the specific warning such as 4996. That's because which forcibly does not allow the use of getch function. Okay, so if you make that happen in your advanced tab, that's such that you don't get any specific warning when you're using a getch function, which is used to make the output constant or standstill in a standstill mode until the user gives an input from the keyboard. Okay, so here let's come back to our coding part. Let me have a comment here such that student class, okay, example. So how to define a class for a student which is a real-time entity. So in the last lesson we have did the same thing for employee. Okay, so using namespace std, so let's define our student class using the class keyword, and let's say class student. Okay, so okay, so we have now a very basic empty class which ends with a semicolon here. Okay, so what you are going to do is let's have some private members for our student class here. So private members of any student are going to be data members, are going to be like this, like int roll number. So every student has a roll number, and obviously every student has a name in this world, and also he has some percentage. So let's take it in float. Okay, and also you can have a grade, a character. Okay, so A grade or B grade or C grade, whatever it wanted. So let's also define our methods in the public section. So let's say void get details. So void get details is a method which is defined in the public section here. So in the get details method, so what we are going to do is we need to grab the input for each and every data member which is enlisted in our private section here. Okay, so first so let's use our cout statements to have some message. So let's say enter the student details. Okay, so enter the student details and so first it's going to be like this, cout /n/t. So enter the name So enter the name. So you can have your scene, or okay, let's have scene for the first instance, scene and name. Okay, and then let's take another cout statement, and let's say excuse me, enter the roll number. So enter the roll number. Okay, so cn roll number. Okay, cn roll number, and now let's grab the percentage. Okay, so although it's not a good practice to grab the percentage directly, so you need to have some calculation like a cal method or cal member function, such that you grab the input from the user, all the different marks he has obtained in all subjects, and then you need to calculate the total, and then you have to obtain the percentage. So all these things, since we are very in basic and introductory courses or we are just defining the student class for just for the learning and understanding the structure of a class in C++. So we need not intended to do all those things here. Okay, so let's say, so enter the percentage. Okay, so enter the percentage and scene percentage PRC. I remember we have taken the that as variable here. And also last but not the least, let's enter the grade also. So enter the grade of the student. Okay, so enter the grade of the student, and let's say scene grade. Okay, so we have grabbed all the input from the user in our get details method. So in the same way, let us define another method which is known as void put details. Okay, so that method, as we have done in the previous example, is going to have all the it's going to display whatever the input the user has stored in those respective variables. So for name is stored in the name, private member, and roll number is stored in the roll number, and so on and so forth. So using our put details method, we are going to output each and every data which is entered using the get details method here. Okay, so now what you are going to do is you're going to say another cout statement /t the details. So the student are as follows. The details of the students are as follows. And here, so the first instance, let's output the student roll number, student roll number. So let's have a complete message here, and let's say so roll number here. Okay, so in the same way you can have /t the student name is equal to the student name is equal to, so what we have taken the as name as variable for name here. Excuse me. Okay, so in the same way, let's output the percentage also. This percentage, so he or she obtained, percentage he or she obtained. Okay, so it's going to be stored in this variable PRC, and the last but not the least, the grade he has /t the grade he got. Okay, so the grade he got, you can have that in stored in this variable grade. Okay, so we have just outputted all the variables, whatever we have grabbed the input from the user using the get details method here. Okay, so now what we are going to do is in our main method, so int main, I have taken this time to follow the standard and return 0. Okay, so in our main method, here I am going to create an object for our student class here. So student, let me say the object as s1. So s1 dot get details. I'm just calling the method, and again the same way s1 dot put details. Okay, So I have just called both the methods, whatever I have described in our system here. So also let's use CRSCR method. So maybe that's not going to work in our Visual Studio environment. So to replace that, we have system CLS here. Okay. So until now we have done with all our respective coding for we have built student class, a simple student class with certain specific private data members and two member functions here. Okay. So I have created an object for student class, and just I have called those methods using our dot operator followed by the object here. Okay, so I'm just running the program. So if everything goes well, it should run exactly. Okay, so everything went well, and I'm just increasing the font size here such that it's viewable in a good way. Okay, so it's asking us to enter some name here, so I'm just entering my name, which is Shrikant, and I'm just entering some roll number, and I'm just entering some percentage like 77.63. Let's say the grade student, the grade of the student A. Okay. Since we haven't used any getch here, so output instantaneously disappeared from our arena. Okay. So again, I'm just running the program once again. So Shrikant, roll number is 1. Let's say 77.63, and grade, let's say A grade. So just clear the screen, and whatever the details I have entered previously using those get details method is just displaying all the specific details here. Okay, so that's because we have called the put details method after the get details function here. Okay, so to summarize once again, so here we have built a very basic class known as a student. So which consists of 4 different, typically every student in the world consists of 4 different or else different properties or data members or attributes, we can say. So roll number typically has a roll number, name, percentage, and grade. And the same way we have defined 2 different methods. The methods or member functions, we call it in C++. Okay, so let's have a comment here. So data members in private section. Okay, so these are not accessible outside the class here. Okay, so that's also known as security or data abstraction here. Okay, so member functions, so in public area, so these are accessible outside the class also. Okay, so 2 different member functions, one is get details and another one is put details. The get details grabs all the input from the user, and the put details just displays them to the standard output screen, and we have defined an object here. Okay, let's write a comment here. So creating an object for our student class. Okay, and calling the methods, we are just calling, so calling the member functions. So calling the member functions using the object and dot operator. Okay, so this is the basic stuff how to define a simple student class example in C++. So see you in the next lesson. Goodbye.